A very good evening to all of you. You're watching News Tonight. My name is Aditi Nagpal Girotra. Let's get the news rolling with the headlines first. Government approves ordinance to ease rules for auctioning of coal mines, removes end-use restrictions of mining blocks, allows non-coal companies to bid auction of 46 iron ore and other mines before March 31st this year. Cabinet approves 5,559 crore rupees funding for North-East gas grid in principle note to strategic sale of Neelachal Ispat Nigam Limited. Clears MOU between India, UK for energy self-sufficiency in Indian Railways. Prime Minister Narendra Modi invites public suggestions ahead of Union Budget 2020-2021, says it represents aspirations of 130 crore Indians. Finance Minister concludes pre-budget consultations with representatives of various sectors, including health, education, banking, agriculture, etc. Tehran not looking for war, says Iranian envoy to India Ali Chagani. Hours after Iranian strikes on US military bases in Iraq, urges India to play peacemaker in de-escalating tensions with US. Temperature drop in North India after fresh snowfall and rain in Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. Avalanche warning in Leh Ladakh. Showers bring down temperatures in Delhi. Our top story: in a bid to attract investments and boost domestic coal production, the Cabinet on Wednesday approved promulgation of Mineral Laws Amendment Ordinance 2020 to amend Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act 1957 and Coal Mines Special Provisions Act 2015. The ordinance aims to ease rules for auctioning of coal mines and opening it for steel and power sectors. The Cabinet also gave its nod for concluding auction of iron ore and other mineral mines before 31st March.
Growth in ease of doing business, democratization of the sector by opening it up to anyone willing to invest, means end-use restriction, and in the August itself, the coal sector is opened up of the FDI. Previously, there was a restriction that anybody to participate in the auction, he should have the operation, coal mine operation in India. That restriction we are removing.
कोयला हमारे पास भरपूर है, लेकिन फिर भी हम भरपूर आयात करते हैं। इस स्थिति को समाप्त करने वाला एक ऐतिहासिक फैसला लिया है।
Minister of Coal, Mines and Parliamentary Affairs.
In another major decision, the Cabinet approved proposal to divest equity shares of 6 PSUs, including Metals and Minerals Trading Corporation and Odisha Mining Corporation in Neelachal Ispat Nigam. In some other decisions, Cabinet also agreed to provide Rs 5,559 crore funding to North-East gas grid. The 1,656-kilometer North-East natural gas pipeline grid will connect Guwahati in Assam to major cities in the region and will enable the supply of piped cooking gas to households, CNG to automobiles and fuel to industry.
5 सरकारी कंपनी IOCL, ONGC, GAIL, ऑयल इंडिया एंड NRL नुमालीगढ़ रिफाइनरी मिलके इंद्रधनुष गैस ग्रिड लिमिटेड, नॉर्थ ईस्ट की 7 राज्य प्लस सिक्किम, गुवाहाटी से आगे ऐसे सारे 8 राज्यों को नेचुरल गैस पाइप में मिले। डोमेस्टिक गैस घर में पाइप में पहुंचे। ट्रांसपोर्टेशन के लिए दिल्ली में जैसे आप सीएनजी गाड़ी चलाते हैं, नॉर्थ ईस्ट भर में सीएनजी गाड़ी चले। वहां की उद्योग के लिए जिसमें से रोजगार और राजस्व दोनों बढ़ने वाला है, वहां गैस उपलब्ध हो, इसकी एक एम्बिशियस प्लान भारत सरकार ने आज एक VGF दिया है।
Cabinet also approved a MOU between India and Sweden on cooperation in polar science and an agreement for enabling energy self-sufficiency for Indian railways between India and United Kingdom was also agreed. In a move that has escalated tensions in West Asia, Iran launched over a dozen ballistic missiles targeting at least 2 bases in Iraq, where US military and coalition forces were stationed. According to Iranian state TV, the attacks were in revenge for the killing of the commander of Iran's powerful revolutionary guards, General Qasem Soleimani, in a US drone strike on Friday, which was ordered by President Donald Trump. Iran claimed at least 80 US soldiers were killed in the strikes. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said the attacks were a slap in the face of the US. Confirming the attacks, the Pentagon said it is working on initial battle damage assessments. Shortly after the missile attacks, US President Donald Trump tweeted, "All is well." Missiles launched from Iran at 2 military bases located in Iraq. Assessment of casualties and damages taking place now. So far, so good. We have the most powerful and well-equipped military anywhere in the world by far. Soon after Iran launched missile attacks on US targets in Iraq, world oil prices briefly surged 4.5%. Analysts warn the unrest is yet to impact oil supplies. Iranian ambassador in New Delhi, Ali Chagani, has said that Iran will welcome any initiative by India to de-escalate tensions with the US. He asserted that Iran does not want war. He also said that cooperation between India and Iran on Chabahar will continue.
Of course, India itself is involved in the region. Interest of India, its location, its population in the Persian Gulf, and the economic, political, cultural interest of India, of course. India is a part of the region, should be a part of the de-escalation, should be a part of growing and economic growing, peacemaking in this region. We are welcome any initiative from our good friends from India.
With global oil prices soaring after heightened US-Iran tension, Oil Minister Dharmendra Pradhan said that India is preparing to deal with all kinds of situations. He asserted that there is no crisis.
देखिए, इसकी डायमेंशन और उसकी रैमिफिकेशन हम सबके सामने है। पिछले बीते हुए कुछ घंटों के अंदर दुनिया की जियोपॉलिटिक्स में काफी उछाल और काफी उथल-पुथल हो रही है। भारत एक मेजर कंज्यूमर के नाते हमारे विदेश मंत्री सारे स्टेक होल्डर से, कल मैंने विदेश मंत्री से सभी से आलोचना भी किया है। विदेश मंत्री जी ने तेल उत्पादनकारी देशों की उनकी काउंटर पार्ट से भारत की कंसर्न को उठाए हैं। भारत की व्यवस्था उस विषय पर नजर रखी है। पेट्रोलियम मिनिस्ट्री, विदेश विभाग, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के कार्यालय, ये सारा विषय पे नजर रखें। हम सारे प्रकार की सिचुएशंस को सामना करने के लिए तैयारी कर रहे हैं।
Let's connect now with our news correspondent Akhilesh Suman, who will give us updates on latest between Iran and United States. Akhilesh ji, Iran and the United States have tensions between Iran and United States have escalated further. What is the latest on this?
You know that Iran and US are working both. They are trying to defuse the situation because Iranians have given a green leaf and they have said, you know, if you remember Iranian foreign minister's tweet, he had just said that it was a proportionate retaliation after the death and after the assassination of, the general. And then, you know, that after that, you know, Americans also are trying to assess that what is the damage really and what will be the repercussions if they go into full-blown war. So in this situation, I think that both are trying to assess and both are trying to talk to their allies. And what I have got information that NATO is going to sit in Brussels and NATO will decide the future course of action, because NATO forces are there in Iraq. NATO forces are also together on this issue, given the fact that if the coalition breaks, then it will be difficult for every NATO forces to combat any such situation. So I think NATO is going to decide that what they have to do, and they will also talk to Americans that what is the situation and what is the assessment of Americans about the future course of action. Other than that, Iranians are also talking to their allies, and you have heard the Iranian ambassador's bite, and he is trying to, persuade all concerns, including India, and he has told that India's, influence in the world, given the fact that India has been friendly to all nations in this region, India can play a role. And I can tell you that External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar is talking to all the stakeholders, and he had already talked to many of the neighbors in the Gulf and many of the influential countries in the whole area. And being one of the major countries in Asia, India is trying to defuse the situation the way it can. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also had spoken to U.S. President Donald Trump, and we have our stakes in Iran, we have our stakes in Afghanistan, we have all the stakes in Central Asian countries, and we have Chabahar, and we have to work on Chabahar for strategic regions. So I think everyone is trying to assess the situation. Everyone is trying to persuade everyone so that it does not, escalate. So we are keeping the fingers crossed, and everyone is trying to keep a close watch on both Iran and US, that how they react further.
Thank you so much, Akhilesh, for all that information. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has invited people to share their ideas and suggestions for this year's union budget slated to be presented next month. In a tweet, PM Modi said, the union budget represents the aspirations of 130 crore Indians and lays out the path towards India's development. Earlier, the Finance Ministry had also urged people to share their suggestions for the budget in the field of agriculture, education, industry, among others. People can send their suggestions on mygov.in. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla and Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairman attended the Standing Committee meeting on the Conference of Speakers of the Commonwealth in Ottawa. Addressing the conference, Om Birla said, globally, parliaments are expanding due to increase in their work and rising aspirations of people. Birla added that modernization and revamping of parliaments lead to technological and cultural changes which strengthen democracies. He further added that India's parliament has completed 92 glorious years and its role and responsibilities have increased with enhanced mandate. Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairman Harivansh said that openness, transparency and accountability are the cornerstones of a successful parliamentary democracy. Harivansh added that several important efforts have been made in India to connect common people with the parliament. With this, we'll halt in for a quick break, but we'll be back soon. Stay tuned with us.
Succeeding Muhammad bin Tughlaq, 45-year-old Firoz Shah Tughlaq took over the reins of a shrinking Delhi Sultanate. As he decided not to capture the areas lost, Firoz Shah built another city to house his capital. Firozabad, the new city of Delhi, was chosen to be founded in the year 1354 on the banks of river Yamuna. The fort, which is today surrounded by a vast expanse of Delhi's urban growth, once stood as a symbol of an all-encompassing city. Firoz Shah Tughlaq's kingdom is also remembered for a department of charity called Diwan-e Khairat. Within his city, he constructed several hospitals, sarais and roads. Opened a hospital for the poor in Delhi called Darul Shifa. Great gardens were laid out in the city. As per the account of Shamsi Siraj Afif, the number ran as high as 1,200 gardens. Though smaller in size than the mighty Tughlaqabad, massive ramparts were also built to withstand any attack.
What are some key legislations introduced in Rajya Sabha? Some of the key legislations introduced in Rajya Sabha are the Hindu Marriage and Divorce Bill 1952, the Hindu Succession Bill 1954, the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Bill 1969.
Enter the majestic forecourt of Rashtrapati Bhavan and you'll come across the Jaipur column. A gift to the Viceroy from Savai Madho Singh, the Maharaja of Jaipur, to commemorate the creation of the new capital. The 145-meter high column is crowned with 6 pointed crystal stars on a bronze lotus, and inside the stone shaft runs a steel tube which weighs a little more than 5 tons. The base of the column has text conceived by Lord Irwin and Sir Edwin Lutyens inscribed on it.
Welcome back. You're still with us on News Tonight. BJP has increased its strength to 103 in the Zilla Panchayat elections in Maharashtra, emerging as a #1 party, tweeted former Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis. He said that in Panchayat Samiti elections, BJP won 194 seats and is #1 again. He also congratulated the party workers and all newly elected members. Despite a setback in Nagpur, the BJP won most seats in the local body polls. Elections were held in Nagpur, Akola, Washim, Dhule, Nandurbar and Palghar. In a significant order, SC asked Centre to ensure that mine leaseholders must restore the damaged land to a condition fit for growth of fodder for cattle after completion of mining operations. Supreme Court bench headed by CJI S.A. Bobre said this could help protect shrinking pasture land for cattle in the country. Union Minister Prakash Javadekar said that the way registrations for next semester were, Mr. Javadekar said there was need to remember what happened in the university last week. Registrations for the next semester started in JNU. All students were registering when some unions decided they will not allow this. They locked the server and did not let anyone use it.
इस तरह से सर्वर को लॉक करके रखा कि किसी को उपयोग करने नहीं दिया, तो ये जो महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दा है वो हमें भूलना नहीं चाहिए। ये शिक्षा का काम नहीं है, ये शिक्षा के विरोधी काम है कि छात्रों को सेमेस्टर के लिए रजिस्टर करने से रोकना, ये अशैक्षिक काम है, शिक्षा का काम नहीं है। बाकी जहां तक हिंसा में कौन शामिल है, मुझे पुलिस जांच होगी, विश्वास है कि सभी नकाबपोश बेनकाब होंगे।
Mr. Javadekar said there was need to remember what happened in the university last week. Last week, registrations for the next semester started in JNU. All students were registering when some unions decided they will not allow this. They locked the server and did not let anyone use it. We should not forget this important issue.
JNU is known as a very peaceful campus, and we always debate and discuss and resolve the issues. Violence is never an answer for any grievances, and it's very, very unfortunate that such violent incidents took place in our campus.
A Ukrainian airplane carrying 176 passengers and crew crashed on Wednesday shortly after takeoff from Tehran airport. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said all passengers and crew on board the Ukrainian Boeing 737 plane were killed. The plane was carrying 167 passengers and 9 crew members when it went down in the vicinity of Parand, a city in Tehran province. According to reports, the crash was caused by technical difficulties. The Directorate General of Civil Aviation has also asked Indian airline companies to remain vigilant and take all precautions in airspace over Iran, Iraq, Gulf of Oman and waters of Persian Gulf. The advisory came hours after a Ukrainian international airlines carrying 180 passengers crashed near Tehran in Iran. Meanwhile, U.S. aviation regulator FAA has also asked all U.S. airlines to stop operating in the airspace over Iraq, Iran and the waters of the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman due to events in Middle East. And now let's talk about environment and climate change. While the climate change is causing severe adverse effects to the lives of humans, insects and other wildlife are also being affected. Experts believe millions of monarch butterflies are migrating from North America due to climate change. The butterflies are among the world's experts in climate adaptation. They migrate to different places depending on the weather and climate. However, the consistency no longer exists and the most adaptable butterflies are also on the verge of extinction due to climate change. The U.S. and Wildfire Service report says billions of butterflies vanished in the period between 1990 and 2015. The death is mostly linked to uneven weather patterns, winter storms, soaring summer temperatures, among others. In the year 2002 alone, around 75% of the monarchs were killed due to a winter storm. Cold wave conditions prevailed in most parts of North India, with rains lashing plains and fresh bouts of snowfall occurring at hilly areas. Tourists have been advised against travelling to Shimla and Manali after over 250 roads were blocked due to heavy snow in Himachal Pradesh. Delhi saw light rain, but the minimum temperature was recorded at 11.6 degrees Celsius, 4 notches above the normal. According to the Met Department, scattered to fairly widespread rain is likely over Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, Delhi and Uttar Pradesh and isolated places in Rajasthan till Thursday. And with this, it's a wrap on this edition of News Tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.